Let's continue now with part two of this reflexive have past. I want to move into the verb to stay, which is quedarse. Here you can see it's clearly reflexive with the se at the end. So I'll get you started on this one. If I wanted to say I have stayed or I've stayed, this quedarse would transform like this. So we have, first of all, the past participle would go to quedado, and then you would have me he quedado. So here we have the se that was here gets now transformed up here to me, and then we have the auxiliary. So this me he, right, is matching perfectly as a pair. Me he quedado, and this past participle is rock solid, right? Never changes. So what I'm going to do now is hand it over to you. We already have I have stayed here. Me he quedado. So how would you say you have stayed? Te has quedado. He, she, or it has stayed. Se ha quedado. We have stayed. Nos hemos quedado. They have stayed. Se han quedado. How would you say, I have stayed in this house? Me he quedado en esta casa. What about asking, have you stayed here before? ¿Te has quedado aquí antes? She has never stayed here. Nunca se ha quedado aquí. We have stayed in this hotel before. Nos hemos quedado en este hotel antes. They have always stayed in this hotel. Remember to throw always way up front. Siempre se han quedado en este hotel. One more thing that I'd like to quickly mention is, of course, if we wanted to say, turn the phrase into a negative phrase. So we already have I have stayed in this house with me he quedado en esta casa. But you might say, I haven't stayed in this house, right? Turning into negative. So again, the no just gets thrown way up front, and now the whole phrase becomes negative. So, no me he quedado en esta casa. Here you have no me he. And of course, with native speakers, that would flow very quickly, no me he. So it's hard to pick it up, but that's what's happening. No me he quedado en esta casa. So with any of these, if you wanted to turn it into a negative statement, right? Well, not so much this one, but say that one. We haven't stayed in this hotel before. Again, this would transform up here simply with no. No nos hemos quedado en este hotel antes. With any of these phrases that have all been in positive so far, to turn them into a negative, you add the no at the front and all the rest remains the same. Let's switch verbs now. We're going to go with to worry, the verb to worry, which is preocuparse. Again, you can see preocupar and the se, the reflexive part at the end, preocuparse. So again, I'll get you started. We want to say I have worried, or simply contracted to I've worried. So this preocupar becomes preocupado, and then you would match it with the me he up front. So to myself, I have worried. Me he preocupado. Again, this past participle remains rock solid, and we just play by matching the reflexive pronoun with the correct auxiliary verb here. So let's turn it over to you. How would you say you have worried? Te has preocupado. He, she, or it has worried. Se ha preocupado. We have worried. Nos hemos preocupado. They have worried. Se han preocupado. Let's turn all of those into negatives now. How would you say I haven't worried? No me he preocupado. You haven't worried. No te has preocupado. He, she, or it hasn't worried. No se ha preocupado. We haven't worried. No nos hemos preocupado. They haven't worried. No se han preocupado.